Disclaimer: all of the people who speak on this podcast are not professionals, so please do not quote or references in your papers. Thank you and have a nice listen. Hello dear listeners and watchers, and welcome to another episode with the Psychocast. Today is going to be the Valentine special edition, and we'll be talking about the psychology of romantic attraction. Today with me are Silvio and Dilyara.
Hello.
Hello.
And before we start with the question, I will introduce some of the stuff we will be talking about in a brief explanation. So the psychology of romantic attraction is from I would say a neurochemistry point, is that when the brain is filled with like dopamine and serotonin, which kind of make us feel excited or obsessive even over a person. We have other factors as well, which are, for example, when you see someone with similar values, interests, and maybe even personality as you, how frequently you interact with somebody. Sometimes even a factor can be if you know that someone likes you, you can like them back. And, at some point, if you are in a relationship, you might idolize this person to the point where you ignore their flaws. We also, I would say, we have the 3 stages of attraction, which is the initial attraction, which is like immediate, sometimes even subconscious, which is like physical appearance, familiarity, and shared traits. We have passionate love, which is the intense feeling, or I would even say kind of the beginning of the honeymoon phase. And then we have like the attachment and bonding with somebody when you form like a strong relationship, which might last for even a lifetime. So let me start with the questions. And the first one I prepared for you, I think, is like kind of, maybe you guys have felt it, maybe you haven't, but why do we sometimes feel like an instant spark to somebody? Or have you felt an instant spark to somebody?
Are we purely talking romantically, or can be also platonically, like with a person?
Because we're talking about romantic attraction, romantically.
Okay, well, kind of. Yes. Sometimes it has happened where I felt a spark with someone, and I think usually the reasons are certain signifiers, whether that's appearance or behaviors that seem to relate, to the kind of people that match with me. Yeah.
Fair enough. What about you, Dilyara?
So, being a gay chick is very fun. Platonic and romantic attraction feel precise. Either they don't feel like anything, or both feel the same way. Cannot tell you, honestly. I have definitely felt sparks when it comes to... I cannot tell if they're platonic or romantic sparks. Mostly because, again, being gay in Bulgaria is very fun. The one time where I can say maybe there was like a spark when it comes to like specifically non-platonic romantic attraction was in a case where a person was already interested in me. And also we had the issue of opposite genders. So it was kind of like almost expected for it to happen. That thing got a very funny resolution where it got resolved into the attraction going away when we resolved our issues, which is, again, for me, an incredibly funny topic when you guys feel like you should be attracted to each other and you should be like romantically attracted, and we actually sit down and talk, you're like, oh wait, no. So that initial attraction there, I feel like it was more social pressure than it was anything genuine.
Fair enough. If you want to expand on this, I have a similar question later on, but it's for later on.
Later on.
I would say from my personal experience is that I have had, I think, one instant spark with somebody, and that is my current partner, who we kind of got in a relationship like 1 week after we met. So, yeah. I mean, I kind of believe in that, like that the instant spark, like you immediately know that you're kind of made with each other, I guess. So, yeah. I also want to ask another question, of course. Do you think that early childhood experience kind of influences how you find someone attractive as an adult or a young teenager?
Do you want to start?
I think I have some pretty interesting insight on that. I did not really get along with men at all when I was younger. not even sure why. We just kind of mutually avoided each other, whether it was intentional or not. I feel like all sense of romantic attraction has like an element of like newness to it, like an element of unfamiliarity, which actually makes it more so romantic than platonic, at least from what I've seen. So that for me specifically, what I have noticed and seen with my friends and with myself is the ones who had like less communication with the opposite gender were significantly more likely to feel that initial incredibly fast spark with somebody of the opposite gender. Whereas the ones who tend to have a lot of mixed friendships, a lot of male and female influences in their lives, a lot of interactions with different identities, like people who they're supposed to be attracted to and people who they're not supposed to be attracted to, those tended to come a lot slower. I saw significantly less like immediate sparks, like crushes almost. It felt more measured. Also, in middle school and high school, when relationships are not exactly expected, at least among girls, I can definitely say that crushes became a bit like a bonding activity or sport. They're not exactly meant. Like, they're meant, but like in a very juvenile way. They're like something you show off, something you get teased about, not something you actually act on. So in that way, I feel like the more you have influence of like people who are like supposed to be attracted to, like the more diverse influences you have in your life, and the more that's like kind of destigmatized for you, the less likely it is for you to fall into this like incredibly kind of campy, very divisive, crushy, sparky culture. At least from what I've seen.
I think I'll have to skip this question as I'm not really sure how to answer. I haven't thought much about this.
Fair enough. Honestly, I kind of agree with Dilara. So, I guess it was her question this time around, which fair enough. Always fun to have. So you talked something about like when you're unfamiliar with somebody, you kind of feel attraction to the person or the opposite gender or the same gender even sometimes. Do you think that being more familiar with a person can also make you more attracted to them in a way?
I feel like that's a bit of a loaded question, mostly because I feel like the concepts of attraction and like being in love and loving somebody are three separate things. I feel that the concept of like this, the crushes and the attraction and the push and pull that you see in the beginning of relationships are certainly based on an area of mystique, an area of like wanting something, an area of like craving something, which can come from the unfamiliarity of it and like you being able to kind of project your own thoughts about it, and be more pressured to think it's something new and exciting and something you didn't have beforehand. The way I've thought about it when it comes to like specifically opposite gender relations is that if you feel like a strong connection to somebody of the opposite gender and the only way you can contextualize it is through a romantic relation that can manifest as attraction, I feel like the human brain is a lot more mushy and malleable than people give it credit for. It's incredibly easy to get swept up in social pressures, which doesn't mean that the attraction is not honest. I feel like the type of attraction that comes from deeply knowing somebody is maybe a different type of attraction. It's not the chase, it's not the unexpected, it's not like you trying to find a way to be acceptably like familiar with somebody. It's more of a sense of, I feel like it can be, at least for me, it was for a long time, a sense of we've hit the wall of how close we can be as friends, which is kind of bullshit. You can do whatever you want. Relationships are whatever, frankly. They're magic. They can be whatever you want them to be. But like there is this sense of like we've hit the wall on how close we can be as friends. Let's switch into something else. I feel like romantic relations or genuine romantic attraction or genuine pure romantic attraction is rarer than people think it is. Is my point. I feel like it can only come with knowing somebody for a long time, and having not knowing somebody for a long time, but like being sure of yourself in like how you can differentiate them and having like a lot of experience with attraction as a whole, or like with yourself at least. Because when I didn't, let me tell you, it was insane.
Yeah,
I think I mostly agree with what Dilara said. For me personally, I think it depends. What are you looking for in your life? What phase in your life you are? I've had times where there's someone who seems mysterious and intriguing. I don't know much about them. And, there's that interest that you want to maybe know more. But then the more you know, that can also chase an attraction away as well. That can happen. But there have been times where the more you know a person, in my experience, uh, the more you start liking them, enjoying their company, and want to spend more time with them.
It's like a sense of accomplishment, I suppose, in some cases. Like you find out more and more and more, and it feels like you're making like this progress in the game. Like, yes, I want more and more and more. So it's like a sense of accomplishment. I'm getting to know this person. This is exciting. I'm like making progress on that, which can settle into like a very comfortable and healthy relationship. Obviously, like it's not, that being like kind of gamified and being excited in your brain doesn't mean it's bad. It's just how it happens, I suppose.
I haven't personally experienced that, but I've had connection where you just go really well. You just get really along with a certain person and you just want to spend like a lot of time with them. Like your habits and behaviors and interests somehow fit very well, I would say.
Yeah, I think, for example, I want to say that I have experienced multiple times where when I get more familiar with certain people, right now my partner, of course, I kind of want to spend more and more time with them, and I feel attracted to my partner because of how familiar we are with each other and how familiar we are also getting, because I think that certain things show up much later on in a relationship. I would also say that for some friends too, I really love spending time with some friends, even though I might know almost everything about them. It's still fun to be around them because you know what they might do, and I don't know, being familiar with somebody doesn't really leave out for me the attraction part. Uh, Even though what you guys said, I would also agree with, because sometimes the more you know somebody, the more you're like, oh, I don't want to be with that guy anymore. Oh my goodness, what the hell?
And occasionally you run into the really hilarious situation where like you get to know somebody more and more, and there's like nothing wrong with that person. They're a perfectly chill person.
That too.
Your brain just like goes, never mind. Which is a hilarious situation to be in, frankly.
Yeah, sometimes like they may even be very like interesting or very attractive to you, but just knowing them can sometimes push you away, like to not like them anymore
That
as
is
much.
that is really true. I remember there was one meeting. I have met one person who, after 2 hours, I never wanted to see again. He was like it was 3 years ago or something like that, and I was listening to him talking. I was like, oh my goodness, this guy, what the hell is he on? I genuinely was like, this guy's.
For me, something that occasionally happens, which I personally find fucking hilarious, is I'll see somebody from afar. I'll be interested. I'll be like, they're cute. They're this. They're that. They're attractive. They're magnetic. Then we get introduced because I run the type of circles where my friends meddle in everything I do because they're horrible people. But then we get introduced. We go on, and what ends up happening is that I really like them as a person. They're just as interesting and magnetic as I thought they were. But the romantic part of the equation just falls off. I'm like, you're a wonderful friend. You're such good company. I don't think I want to fuck you anymore. Which is, incredibly funny for it to happen because, like, there's nothing wrong with the person. Everything should line up. Everything should work out. But again, our brains are weird, mushy things and occasionally do things like, oh yeah, never mind, actually. Don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
GG.
Yeah. I mean, it's not all. Yeah. So you said a comment that you don't like. For example, the more you know somebody, you might not want to fuck them. I want to specify this comment because I actually have a question that's like, what do you think comes first, the physical or the emotional attraction to somebody on a romantic level?
I don't really get, how do I say it? I get interested, but I don't, attraction is weird for me. I don't think I experience it quite like normal people do. It's more of like a social thing for me. It's social bonding. It's like, I like and I enjoy, and my brain enjoys the social aspects, the social, like, kind of the way people view and the type of social behaviors you kind of engage when attraction is implied. But the feeling itself is probably something I don't really feel as much. So for me, it has always been a bit, maybe not emotional, because emotional implies like a level of being aware of the person, knowing the person, or at least like having heard rumors of the person. What for me works on, it's more like a social basis, I suppose. I feel like a lot of people get attracted to somebody because of their position in their social life. So it could be somebody who's like incredibly charismatic and magnetic because they're popular, because make a lot of people feel good. It could be somebody who's like in a position that's very convenient for you to get in a relationship with. Attraction out of convenience is something I have seen happen. Out of convenience, or it could be like a friend of you, or it can just like look like the type of person you'd socially get along. So like for me, it's more like social standing. That makes it sound very fake, but you see, I don't mean it quite in a oh we like who's popular. More like we like who we think will fit into our socialness the best. So it's not quite emotional. It's like vibe, aura.
So it's neither physical or emotional.
It's more so like it's a combination of the two. It's both. It's aura, I suppose.
Yeah, basically.
Actually, what Dilara said, I really agree with, especially the last part. It sounds kind of mean, but I have been in a situation where I might be getting along with someone and I might really be enjoying the time we're spending and the physical acts we're doing, but they're in a very different social standing to where it feels like socially we don't go well together. So that can be a reason enough to, stray away from that person.
So wait. So to say it simply, it's like you don't fit each other in a way.
Yeah, I feel like they don't exactly belong in my life.
Yeah, because like individual attraction is all well and good, but at the end of the day, you kind of have to. The more I have come to this university and live in the dorms, the more I start to become aware of this. You cannot go your entire life talking with people only on a person-to-person basis. You'd have to at some point consider how they fit into a larger picture. And them being in a different social standing than you, in a different social circle, social standing makes me feel like a classist royal. My apologies. The pause. No, interacting socially differently, even if you two get along incredibly well, like incredibly well, and incredibly similar as people, what may put you off at the end of the day is just you guys go about like interacting with people in a very different way to the point where like you have to like stand there and consider us two as a, because when you get to the relationship, it's kind of implied that you go as a duo against the world, kind of.
Yeah.
It's not a concept I personally really enjoy, but it's kind of like what's expected. So at some point you gotta have to like question like, will we work as a social unit? And if we don't, even on a subconscious level, you might be like, oh yeah, that's just going to be more work than it's worth. I can find somebody who's like has all this I really enjoy and also won't get that much headaches in trying to actually be with.
Yep, nothing to add.
So here I think I'm kind of the opposite of you, because for me social standing kind of doesn't exist in a way. I think I can get along with everybody just fine. I might not like everybody who I get along with, but I can kind of get along and talk with almost everybody. And for me, this is like I think a weakness, but also like a benefit of me. But also for a relationship, for me, how should I put it? If me and my partner have like different social circles and stuff like that, I think we can sometimes merge them, or we can learn more about a certain social circle. For example, in this university, last and this year, I have been in many different social circles, learning more and more about the people in those, I would say, bubbles in a way. It's been how should I put it? Pretty interesting, pretty amazing. And honestly, for me, for like a duo to work, your partner may have some pluses that are your minuses, so they can cover for you when you sometimes are like facing these problems, while you can cover for them when they're facing their problems. In a way, being a duo, like it is a lot of work to be in a relationship, in a committed relationship. But I think it's for me at least has always been worth it, and I would always cherish the moments where I have been weak, or my partner has been weak, and we have both helped each other.
I think that also depends at what part in your life you are and what are your priorities, because for example, me, I'm in my part of life where being social and making a lot of connections is really important to me, and I really crave it. And if I cannot really integrate my partner as a part of that, I don't think then it can really work out well. Right now, at least.
The hilarious part is because me and Silvio agree on the social standing, but I have the opposite reason as him. I am at the part of my life where I feel like I'm pretty well established within the way I go with like connections to people. And the other day, what I think it comes down to for me personally, I am an incredibly proud person. I am stubborn as fuck, in a way that usually gets annoying. I don't back off a lot. So what tends to happen is that either the people I keep closest, or like the people who are like expected to be like an incredibly long-term part of my life, because I'm assuming we're talking more also about like long-term relationships in this specific scenario.
Long term, short term. I think both can.
Currently, if I'm talking like long-term,
Yeah.
because short-term is kind of like it comes and goes. Different kind of rules apply there. But like if I'm talking long-term, the people who I keep incredibly close to my life either have to be similar to me in the sense that they're also very, very like proud and stubborn, and kind of stand on their own in that. So that's why we just keep the friends separate, and we have like my incredibly like defined social circle, their incredibly defined social circle, and like we're friendly to each other. We communicate across the social circles, but it's like there's no weirdness and ambiguity and headaches that come from that. Either that or they have to be like compatible with like the way I'm leading my life, so that way we can mix them without there being any friction. It's like at this point in my life, it's like one or the other. It's hard for me to like go with the middle option, where like our circles may or may not cross. It may or may not happen. It could not. That type of ambiguity at that point in my life is incredibly like exhausting for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Even though, in my opinion, being in a relationship doesn't really make you meet less people. I've been in a relationship for about 7 months. I have met a lot of people during that time, a lot of new people, and it's not like someone is stopping you. But I think that depends on the partner you have and all the things you guys also said.
Oh, I think it makes you meet more people actually. Is the thing being in a relationship.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
You kind of have to get familiar with like your partner's social circles at least somewhat.
Yep.
Being totally ignorant of it is a bit of a kind of like
move.
jackass move.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Why don't you know anything about their life?
Yeah, I mean, you knowing your partner's friends, like, you kind of also know a part of them that sometimes maybe they don't show to you when you're the two of you alone, because sometimes you're more sweet to your partner. For example, me. When I see my best friend and when I see my partner, it's two totally different people.
Yeah, just to add one more thing, I think also sometimes social circles have an influence on the relationship as well. Because if your friends, for example, under some circumstances, whether legitimate or not, have a negative opinion on your partner, I feel that can influence how you see them as well.
Absolutely. It can either influence how you see your friends or your partner.
Yeah.
Sometimes even your friends, you can just lose many friends. There have been so much like examples of that I've seen throughout my 20 years of life, which is not that long. But yeah.
Yeah.
On losing friends from like your friends hating your partner, I have experienced at this point it's a stereotype. All your girlfriends hate your boyfriend. All of them, no exceptions. A boyfriend gets brought into the friend group, all of your girlfriends hate him. I have experienced this many times. Not as like the person who has a boyfriend, mind you. The clashes there are brutal, absolutely violent. At that point, I think it comes down to what part of your life are you at and how you resolve that conflict. Because it's occasionally legitimate, but it's also occasionally petty. It's petty and a bit immature. We're in our 20s. It's the point in our life where like you're growing out of the teenage urge to be like, ugh.
Yeah.
Somebody's like taking all of your time in a really annoying way. Or like, ugh, you're being really sappy and that's cringe. So yeah, that also happens. At this point in your life, like in the part where you have to like, if there is a conflict between your partner and your friends, when it gets like incredibly difficult, you have to learn how to like kind of manage that. Like, what's like pettiness, what's childish, and what's like actual legitimate concerns on either side. Because the opposite can happen. It can be that your partner doesn't like your friends, and then what do you do?
Well, if your partner doesn't like your friends, you don't need to meet. I mean, you can meet with them alone, but you don't need to meet with them like, with them. Like, to bring your partners with your friends. It has. I don't think there was a partner that doesn't like my friends, but if it happens, I would just be like, okay, you don't need to go with me every time. But that's maybe because I'm in a healthy relationship.
Maybe.
Yeah, Silvio?
Nothing.
Oh, nothing. Okay. So I want to kind of go in a different direction. It's more of a cultural direction. So I mean, to be fair, I really love cultural stuff. So, anyways, do you think that the culture we have been raised with kind of shapes who and what we find attractive?
Absolutely. I think that's absolutely very obvious. I think you're very eager to talk about this, so I'll give you a
No.
turn.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna let Sivu have his piece about it because I'm going to have like a lot to say. So like go in depth.
Pop off.
Okay. So not only do I think it has an effect on what we find attractive, it has an effect of how we go about attraction as a whole. I think attraction has been brutally overestimated because, again, as I mentioned earlier, I think there's a lot of cases where like attraction is presumed, where I don't think it should be attraction. It should be something like just like friendly interest, maybe. Also, what we find it's affected by the fact that, again, you're expected to go through the world as a duo, like you become a social unit. That's kind of like the expectation. It's less so at our age and less so in this modern era. But like the older you grow and the further back you go generations, that's kind of the expectation that you guys become a unit and you go against the world as a unit. So in that case, you might start searching for things in that unit which are not necessarily, like they're considered attractive for a partner, but they don't have anything to do with like how much you want to romance them or kiss them or anything like that. How compatible are your like lifestyles? So are you a night owl? Are you an early bird? And that comes from the expectation that you move together, which may or may not happen. You may date somebody for years and never move in together. I have relatives like that. It's hilarious. They have children. It's comedy. Very happy children, by the way. It's a happy family. It's just the comedy of the mother and the father living in different houses. But yeah, not only, I think it goes significantly further than only what you find attractive in a partner. I think it goes deep into our conception of partnership and our conception of what is and isn't romance as a whole. Especially like being queer. In queer circles, you either feel people like sinking deeper into that duo because like they're being denied, in a sense, the idea of being in a relationship, like committed monogamous relationship, and like they sink into it, they want it, and they start craving it so much. Or they go the violently opposite direction when they like, which is something that kind of happened to me for a long time. You kind of like realize that some of the systems are not necessarily always 100% the case. And you're like, all bets are off. It's an incredibly freeing feeling, going all bets are off and picking and choosing what you want to do. So I feel like the natural state of humans is a lot more flexible than what our culture implies it to be. I think the concept of romance is almost, I don't think there's a lot of naturalist, like nature into it. Or like nature as we conceive it of this like pure thing.
Yeah.
Outside of social and society. The concept of romance for me is like at least 90% social, which doesn't mean it's not natural, it's just something we have built and something we can change and manipulate with generations.
Yeah. I think culture not only shapes the things we like and influence, but in certain cases it sets in a way the rules and the bounds of a relationship. So a very big example is India. The way relationships go and actually marriages go is in most cases you live with the family, which implies a lot of things. It first of all prevents you from being intimate with your partner. It's not really allowed. It's not really okay. It's not allowed to kiss your partner like much in front of family or in public. And other cases is if you are not a virgin or if your hymen has been broken, you can be seen as impure and not even a suitable partner. So yeah, culture really has big impacts on relationships.
Thank you, Shiru, for this actually saying that, because I was going to. My other question was going to be like, do you think there's like a difference in cultures from here or east or and thank you for saying this. I was like, thank God. I really like this answer. For me, honestly, I kind of agree with you guys. You kind of said everything I was thinking of, so I don't think I can add anything. All really good answers, pretty amazing answers, I would say. So now let's go in another direction. I think if you hear this, you're going to be like, "Oh my goodness, not again." Why?
No, go ahead. We like a
Oh
challenge.
no! Trust me, you will be like that. How do you believe that social media has changed the way of attraction?
Oh, Jesus fuck.
Of attraction.
Yeah,
Oh.
because I want to say something. For example, in the before social media was a thing, most people would probably look at a magazine and see like a beautiful woman or a man and be like, yeah, that's my standard. Right now, I think it's more like it's more like popularized. For example, to have a perfect body or something like that. Something that it's not always possible for everybody to do.
I'm not sure this is the direction you were expecting me to go, at least, but a way I think that social media has changed it is someone can seem more appealing to you or more attractive because they have, or at least the appeal that they have a lot of friends or followers or, social engagement or an active life that is presented by social media, even if that's not, the reality.
Like a lot of curation, yes. I think it has influenced it in two major ways. One of it is like the progressive direction. It has given a lot of people the tools to really sit down and identify what actually they like instead of like kind of going with popular direction because it kind of lessens the peer pressure. It's internet. It's the Wild West. You can say anything you want. If you're like careful enough, who's gonna hold you accountable? Is the fucking CEO of Google gonna come and shame you for like your porn preferences or something?
This would be really fun if you ask me, but go
It
on.
would be hilarious, but not happening. You can find your niche. You can like kind of really center yourself and really seeing that much diversity of people really come into yourself and like realize what you do and don't like, and maybe come into these realizations about how diverse connections can be, so you don't immediately default to romance. So it is helpful in that way, in my opinion. But also it has popularized this incredibly annoying, toxic, like divine femininity, divine masculinity thing that I personally find the bane of my existence. This, you must have a woman who can cook, can clean. Like on the female side, it's like you must protect your divine femininity, and the man that you choose has to protect your divine femininity. It's much easier to fall into these incredibly hilarious and silly delusions when there's not an entire society around you of incredibly close friends who are like, "Ayo, come back to Earth. You're being a weirdo. Stop being a weirdo freak." So in that sense, the freedom has both granted people the ability to be so much more innovative, creative, and assertive with what they actually want and what they actually desire and themselves, to be more honest. And it has also granted the ultimate power of blind delusion.
I want to comment about the post you talked about, like divine, femininity and masculinity. I absolutely hate them. Every time I see them, it's always liked or reposted by the same people. And I'm like, oh my goodness, really? Wow, I did not expect for this is the fourth one you've done in a row. Jesus Christ, get off social media. And this is not like, this is directed to some friends who are like outside of university, because I think most people who are in this university kind of have life. I don't know, sometimes. So, Silvio?
The divine
You want
femininity and
to-
masculinity thing gets really culty. That's all I'm gonna say on the topic. It gets culty. No one in real life shares this opinion. You either seek it on the internet or you don't find it. So that's why it gets so fucking culty. In my opinion, at least. I personally also really dislike it. I find it culty and weird and limiting. And again, delusional.
But sometimes it could be really good comedy. If you just want to laugh at someone that's making something
Oh, it's
dumb.
brilliant comedy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, on that point, yeah, sometimes it does influence people to have some unrealistic expectations that I don't actually believe they have or want in their life, but that appeal of, oh yes, this sounds so good, so perfect. No, that's not how real people are.
And they don't even actually want it, as you said. They just the idea of wanting it gives them a type of like feel and vibe to them that they like that
Yeah,
they like
it's-
being the type of person who wants it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a fantasy or being like part of that community of people who wants those things but doesn't actually want them.
Yeah, it is kind of weird in that way. The desire, like the perception of wanting something is like better than actually wanting it. Especially when it comes to relationships, something that's like, I feel like incredibly connected to what people perceive you as to be as a person. So like, if you could be the type of person who could demand this and fit into the social group, it's almost like, it makes you look different. Especially like on social media where like, we're way more curated. Like you can either choose or not choose to post something. It's not like real life where like people are met with you and like if you are the way you are, nothing you can do about it. People can either take you at your whole or leave it. Like with some limits, obviously, you don't really have to tell everybody everything. But like people like either take you or leave it. Whereas in social media, you can curate yourself significantly more. So every single time you put something out into the internet, it feels like it's calculated. It's something that you chose to put out there somewhere because it's for a purpose. You don't just like, it's not just you existing. You had to like go and put it out there, you know?
Yeah, especially modern day in social media, because for example, in the past, from what I've heard, people were just posting left and right whatever they wanted. For example, YouTube was just full of people posting random stuff, and I found that like probably like in the past it was more fun to go through social media because you actually see some random stuff which could or could not be fake, but still much less possibility to be fake. Or right now, for example, is welcome to perfect life with me. Today I'm going to do this and this. I'm like, there's no way you're doing this every day. Come on, you're not that perfect.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if this has happened to either of you, but there has been like multiple cases for me where someone on their social media account, whether through stories or posts or whatever, seems like a very cool person, and then you meet them in real life for like more than 10 minutes and you instantly don't like them or are not that interested anymore.
I don't bother people from social, like people that are like influencers or something like that, or people who post on social media and popular, because I'm like, I don't want to get disappointed. I know that there's like a few people who are like really cool, yeah, even in or outside of social media, but I think that's becoming few and few people.
What I have experienced is being in the music scene, underground music scene in Sofia. First off, that scene is full of incredibly dominant personalities. As is expected for any underground scene, the underground scene is always going to be with people with strong personalities, be it good or bad. And I have been introduced to a few people like being like, oh, let me give you my friend's socials for this and this. They're also interested in that. And then you meet them in real life, and what you see is somebody who's like unsure and timid and shy and like incredibly, that's such a mean way to say it, but like jelly spined almost. Like a bit of a like a foot rug. Which, you know, there is a perceived amount of confidence that goes into social media. But a thing about me is that it's not that I don't like those people, because that's incredibly mean. But when it comes to a partner, I need somebody to have an almost like offensive amount of spine. Like almost like intolerable amount of like spine and bite to them. I think that's what makes like partnership interesting for me. Somebody who like can really stand on their own. And what has happened a lot on social, at least for me, is that I'll be given somebody's socials, and then when I meet them, they're like incredibly more like weak-willed almost. Like they're very mild people, which is not something you really expect with the social media presence they have. Because they have like 7 highlight reels of mosh pits, and then you meet them and you have to order a drink for them. And like, nothing wrong with that, obviously. It's just a shocking like type of difference.
Yeah. So I suggest we end with the social media because we can deep dive so much into the topic. We can do it after the podcast. I'm just kidding. But I want to ask, I have like 2 questions, two more questions. So do you guys think, like, when do you guys think that attraction becomes an obsession to somebody? Like, for example, you're obsessed with somebody on a, I would say, more negative note.
So you mean like in an unhealthy way?
Yeah, in an unhealthy
Okay.
way.
Hmm. Do you have anything to say? I'm not sure I have yet.
My personal like go to like preliminary type of way to put it. It's obviously incredibly simplified, but like when that person stops feeling like an addition, a plus to your life, and starts feeling like a necessity to your life. I am personally of the opinion that regardless of marriage, regardless of how many years you have been together, you and your partner should be perfectly capable of functioning without each other. Uh, for extended periods of time makes it sound like break up and see, but more so, you should have your own individual, well established social network, career network, hobbies, interests, and your partner should only ever bring more into it. They never should replace anything. And if you find yourself starting to see that somebody's replacing parts of your life because you like them so much and you like want to spend like more time with them, like, you're replacing parts of yourself to make place for them. I think at that point you really should stop and look into yourself and like kind of question if you're really going about this in a good way. Because is it worth it to sacrifice parts of yourself which you may or may not gain back for the sake of somebody else? Shouldn't the partnership be easy? Shouldn't the partnership feel mutually fulfilling and breezy? Why should it be hard? Why should you make that sacrifice?
I think that can happen in cases where a person's individuality, let's say, more like life hasn't been very well established. It's not very concrete and they're perhaps unsure. So their life can become, someone else, like another person. And I think that can manifest in the form of an obsession.
I like how you guys are kind of timid because I'm going to an extreme. I think obsession becomes when you start to, follow someone home. You feel attracted to them, but you start to following them home, stalking them, stuff like that. But hey, I'm maybe an extremist. Who knows? I'm not. But
I'm a bit of an extremist in the sense that like I have very strict parameters of what I do and do not think constitutes like a healthy amount of time, space somebody should be taking in your head. It comes from like being a bit of like individualist, not individualist, that sounds mean, but like being somebody who like values herself above all else at the end of the day. I think that should be everybody's priority in life. Your priority in life is yourself first and foremost. When you have children, I think that's different, but that's not something I can talk about. As it stands from my life experience, I think you yourself should be your first and foremost priority, and everybody else should be something that either adds into your life or subtracts into your life in like a way you appreciate or like in a way that's healthy for you. You should be your own first priority, and everything you do should be in the benefit of you. So if you are getting sacrificed for somebody else, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, especially if you're using your time for things that you wouldn't usually do. And I would say if you're enjoying them, sure. But if you're doing them for the sake of a relationship, I think that comes to a point where it's unhealthy.
yeah. So, do you guys want to hear the final question?
No.
Okay.
Fuck it.
Well, I'm just kidding. You guys are going to have to answer it. I'm sorry. We have to edit this out probably.
Thanks for giving us a choice, though.
Absolutely,
Gosh darn it.
always. We
You
should
really
probably
got
edit this
us.
out. Anyways, so have you guys noticed like any growth in your personality after a romantic failure?
After a romantic failure.
After a romantic failure, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if necessarily it caused it, but it definitely influenced changes in my behavior. Now, whether that was growth or not, I don't know, but changes definitely happened.
Do you want to go deep into it? Because, yeah.
No.
I'll take over.
Okay.
So-
you seem eager to answer,
I'm always eager to answer. I'm a yapper. At the beginning of the episode, I went into the idea that like poor socialization or like very monotonous and lack of like diversity in your in the peers you interact with may lead to being a bit too fast to label something attraction when it's not, or entering into ill-advised relations because you just want to get close to a person. That's the only way you can like socially imagine it. I have had, when it comes to like relationship itself, like when it gets serious, I have had one incredibly bright example in my head, who is now incredibly close friend of mine. But what I think both of us that I came to the conclusion of is that it taught me that I shouldn't be so fast with and so like susceptible to what I feel like I should do. Like I tend to function on vibes. I think that most definitely made me stop and question myself a lot more. Because that was exactly the situation that happened. It was like you guys got close and it's expected. It was something that like it was natural. It was like everybody my friends expected, his friends expected, our families expected it. I constantly got asked about it. And at some point I was like, I should be in a relationship at this point in my life. I should be experiencing teenage love. So I should do that. It didn't mean that the attraction was not genuine. It's just ill-advised. I feel like there is like a smidge of control you have over attraction and only in the social sense. So it kind of taught me that if you feel like that something is attraction, it's good to stop and question yourself about where exactly that might be coming from. Because that was attraction that I was experiencing. It was not good attraction. It was not healthy attraction. It was not attraction that served me or him or anybody really. It was just something that I felt like I should be feeling for the situation I was in. And that like could have ended very badly for us.
Yeah, you might not have been so close friends right now.
Yeah, especially considering both of us did not know how to communicate at that point. Like both of us did not like. It was like a vibe. It was not. It was not something clearly said. And now that years have passed, we both kind of find it hilarious. It's like incredibly funny in hindsight. Uncomfortable conversations aside, it's incredibly funny in hindsight. But it really did make me like stop and ask myself more of. I should have more diverse relations. I should get into I should go with people with less preconceived notions. I should communicate with more types of people because otherwise I end up in a situation where like I'm almost giving into unseen peer pressure for like what reason, frankly, really.
Yep.
I think overall it depends like what kind of reaction you have to it. Like if you reflect on the situation, you can either regress or, evolve from the situation. Either can happen.
Yeah, of course. I mean, regression is afterwards probably progression in a way. So I would say that from my personal experience, I have had several romantic failures, but I think I had like one big one that kind of changed my view on what is love.
Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No more.
We're not editing this out.
No, we're not.
So basically what I was saying that like what changed what was love for me, how to what it was like to be in a genuine relationship. And this taught me many lessons that now I can use with my current partner. And that what I can do, what I sometimes, probably shouldn't do in a way. How to sometimes act and how to just be myself. And in a way, what is the most valuable lesson that I was taught from this relationship is that I can actually be loved, because beforehand I was kind of skeptical about it because I had so many romantic failures to the point where I was kind of starting to lose so much hope, which I think is like a growth for me, in a way for me to, personally involved.
A similar thing has happened to me, but it wasn't necessarily the relationship that, caused it. It was more like me continuing to live my life afterwards and finding out that no, people appreciate me for who I am. That wasn't like the only person.
Yeah, it's not the only person, but like you kind of get a taste of it and you're like, damn, there's actually so many more people. That was kind of for me how it happened in the end of the day. And I think this also in a way ended up with me meeting a lot of new friends afterwards.
Mm. Yeah, that definitely happens sometimes. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You guys learned more about loving yourself. I was like, the concept of love, questioning the fabric of society, went into really existential questions after my romantic failure. I was like, the fabric of society makes it so we feel attraction in opportune times. The most pretentious little piece of shit ever. Thank you.
Yeah. I have to agree with yeah. So thank you guys for being here for this special episode. It was really fun to have you.
It's a fun
Hope-
topic.
Hope we can, the three of us, gather again and have another go for another topic. And we will definitely see each other because we kind of live really close, and we have lectures together.
And we're kind of in the same friend group.
Yeah,
And in the
that's
same
true.
two
yeah.
clubs.
Yeah, in this, yeah. So but
See you in 3 hours, I guess.
yeah, see you for 3 hours. I mean, 30 minutes. So yeah, okay. And thank you to the watchers and the listeners for being with us for a kind of a long episode. Maybe the longest one. We will
yeah.
see.
It's a special, it can be long.
Yeah. Okay. Bye to the watchers and listeners, and we
I suppose.
yeah.